Hi, this is Neil Lazarus and welcome to another podcast. It's going to be one of those podcasts which, if you're listening, I don't know whether it's going to be out of date. So much is happening, both on the Gaza Strip, on the border with Israel, and at the same time in Syria. But let's try and make a sense of some of the events as they unravel. Let's have a look, first of all, what's happening with Gaza. Why is it that the Gaza Strip has suddenly blown up in seeing massive demonstrations, tens of thousands of people walking towards the border? If you looked at the popular press, you would imagine that suddenly, a few weeks ago, the Palestinians got fed up of the situation. There wasn't enough electricity, there's a humanitarian crisis, and they started marching. The reality is, as always, slightly more complicated. Let's go back a bit and ask the question, why now? First of all, if you remember 6 months ago, listening to this podcast, I was saying that the Palestinians' major problem was that people were not listening to them. There are many ways that the Palestinians became the issue of the Palestinians was on the back burner. Hamas has successfully put the Palestinian issue back in the international headlines and on the front pages. Again, it's pretty clever. I said 10 years ago that the moment that the Palestinians stop blowing up buses, killing people, stop blowing up coffee shops or launching missiles, the Israeli public relations departments are going to have a much harder time. And effectively what Hamas has done is encouraged, if not paid, for people to move towards the border with Israel, knowing that no country, especially Israel, would allow 20,000 people with Molotov cocktails and rockets or rocks to cross their border. Remember, the issue isn't the blockade. The issue and the march is called the right of return, the March of the Right of Return. They are claiming that they want all refugees from 1948 and their descendants. They put the number at 5 million. Remember, the original numbers were 750,000 Palestinian refugees, and that the Palestinians call for their children and their children's children to be able to come, i.e. 5 million. They want 5 million people to go back. Remember, they were shouting that they're going to return to Jerusalem. So no country would allow 5 million people, i.e. refugees from all around the Middle East, to return, and Hamas knows that. So the reality is what Hamas has done, and I take my hat off to them, which I don't have, but that's another story, is created a movement which is perceived as a popular movement of passive resistance and encouraging and paying people to cross the border with Israel, knowing fair well what the results would be. But why now? And that's the big question. Look, first of all, the Palestinians have a major problem. One of their problems has been a lack of interest in their cause. Second of all, in one word, Trump. Trump has offered and has said he will move the embassy of the United States to Jerusalem on Independence Day. It's already being prepared in the Diplomat Hotel. A response was needed. Fatah was seen as weak and powerless, and Hamas sees the opportunity to be seen as leading the Palestinian cause. Thirdly, are we on 3 or are we on 4? Doesn't matter. Whatever, is the Palestinian dispute. That battle between Hamas and Fatah has erupted again. Remember that there was an attempt at reconciliation. The reality is that reconciliation failed the moment that Hamas refused to hand over its weapons to Fatah. And Abu Mazen, the Palestinian president, had said, one state, one people, one army. Somewhat quoting Ben Gurion, but maybe that's a story for another time. Hamas refuses to give up its arms to Fatah, and reconciliation failed. Today, Fatah is, as always, at war with Hamas. Hamas is at war with Fatah, and the battle of who leads the Palestinian struggle has been at the essence of the reason, for the Palestinian resistance on the border with Gaza today. Hamas has seized the headlines from Fatah and can be said on the street to be leading the battle for Palestinian independence. That's why. So it's internal politics, It's a lack of movement on the Palestinian side. It's Trump's moving of the embassy to Jerusalem. All of which, plus the economic situation where Fatah had encouraged Israel to reduce electricity on the Gaza Strip by refusing to pay the electricity bill of Hamas, all of that combines to push Hamas to a situation to try something new. I think it's brilliant. I keep coming back to it. Not that I support it, don't get me wrong, but I think it's very clever. For the first time, the Palestinians have really understood that by not blowing things up, by not killing as such, but being perceived as a popular resistance, where the masses are coming out, this is all perception, in a passive demonstration, again, not true, but perceived, they have grabbed the moral high ground. Let's talk about what's developing in Syria, and I'm a little wary, I confess, to send out a broadcast now because literally we don't know what's happening in the next 48 hours. But let's try and summarize and see what is going on. This is as news is coming in the last hour or so. Rockets have been fired at Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. That's a breaking news story. Maybe I'll comment on that a bit more in a second. So how did it start? I think the turning point was the use of chemical weapons by Syria. And again, it's interesting because when you look at the wacky left, they're just like, no, it wasn't chemical attacks, it's a myth. If you look at some of the popular press, and honestreporting.com has an interesting article on how the press has been reporting inaccurately what's happening in Syria, even blaming Israel for the chemical attack. But if you have a look, the chemical attack which took place, which killed nearly 200 people and injured them, I think was again a turning point. I remind you, the use of chemical weapons was a turning point under the Obama government. When Obama said they would react to the use of chemicals and didn't, it opened the way in many ways for America to lose its deterrence factor. At the same time, it allowed Russia to come in very much as the game changer in Syria. In many ways, and maybe this is a discussion for another time, I've always argued that the moment that Obama refused to take action and set the red lines and said that they would take action if chemical weapons were used, it took Russia to rescue the United States from Obama's foreign policy. Ooh, am I going to get some tweets on that? Anyway, I know I'm going fast, but if I don't finish this by now, the news is going to change. So you have the chemical attack. You then have a foreign air force attacking in Syria. Most people are reporting that it was Israel. Israel's not denying it or admitting it. But what is interesting was that Iranian drone bases were attacked in Syria, and we have Iranians injured. So now you have the situation where Israel's being blamed for the attack. The Iranians are threatening to respond. Russian troops were also interested and were also injured. You now also have, as you're probably aware, America and Trump saying they're going to take action. Now, this is before any action that's taken place. By the time you listen to this podcast, the story could be different, and I'm going to have to record again. But as we talk right now, America is moving ships forward, is preparing, is warning of an imminent attack in Syria. Russia is threatening against it, saying that they would target any rockets from American ships and prevent them from hitting their targets. You have Russian warships also moving into the area. So we had also a Russian aircraft flying over American ships, so it was reported. So a very, very tense situation in the area. Of course, only a few weeks ago, we had a very realistic war game where Israel and America ran a scenario together, joint military exercises of a war which was seen to be developing in the north of Israel between Israel, Hezbollah, Iran, Russia, and Israel and America on the other side. I would add, you could also see Britain perhaps joining in. So a lot happening, a lot of at stake, a lot of bluffing, but on the other hand, I think that there's something different here. Often wars begin with people unable to step down from their own rhetoric or rhetoric. And I pose that question, are we seeing that now? Are the stakes getting too high for anyone to step down? I thought I'd get this podcast out to you so you can follow the news. Again, you can drop me a line on Twitter. My Twitter address is @awesomeseminars. You can contact me via my website, awesomeseminars.com. You can contact me on Snapchat, on Facebook as well. If you want to join my Facebook page and you see it's got too many friends, go to the Facebook page, Neil Lazarus at Awesome Seminars, and like that, you'll get information there as well. Or just drop me a line on awesomeseminars2001@gmail.com. Guys, until next time, it could be sooner than later. Thanks for listening to a quick update.
You're listening to Middle East expert and keynote speaker Neil Lazarus, live from Jerusalem.